Mr. Platinum in 1989, and I want to talk about a couple things in this video. TNA Genesis, the Royal Rumble, Raw from Monday, because I didn't really get to talk about it too much, as well as the actual ratings from the shows. Now I'm going to start off with Raw, because I got a chance to see the show. Now the Bret Hart stuff was great. It really was. Him and Shawn Michaels there. You just get this atmosphere in the air. And Bret Hart actually, because the thing that Vince McMahon and Shawn Michaels did, they really talked about the negatives first. They both continued to say that Bret screwed Bret and stuff like that, and then they wanted to make peace. But with Bret Hart, it seemed like right away he just wanted to make peace, Didn't even want to talk about the negative stuff of that night. So that was interesting. I didn't expect that, but the hug, it was emotional, and I was thinking about Wrestling with Shadows, and I was just thinking about a couple things. How the big list of people that never thought this would happen, with the biggest person probably being Bret Hart or Shawn Michaels. So it's great that that's put to rest, and it was really a touching moment. Now the rest of Raw, I don't want to see MVP get a #1 contendership against Miz. I'm not a fan of MVP. I would have preferred Swagger or Carlito. Now the Hornswoggle segment, I did find it funny, unfortunately. That's funny that I'm saying I found it funny, unfortunately, like if I wanted it to suck. But around the same time, I think it was Desmond Wolfe versus the Pope, so what can you say? That I would prefer that. Either way, I think Raw was what you expect from Raw, with the Bret Hart segments being the most interesting things. Now, as some people were saying on the Pro Wrestling Report radio show that just finished, I did expect to see some kind of segment with Bret Hart and the Hart Dynasty. But although all of that is stuff that could happen between now and when his short-term contract ends. So I'm going to give my final thoughts on all that when I actually see the whole picture. But overall, I think it was a good Raw show. Not super big because of the Bret Hart stuff. But yeah, I think one thing that would have helped is having a different a different group of fans in the audience. If this was the fans from the Attitude Era, that place would be going crazy over the stuff that was going on in the ring. A lot of the people in the ring, in the audience, considerably the kids, or mostly the kids, probably didn't know the whole story or remembered it until now when they found out through those promos and stuff like that. But whereas TNA had more of an Attitude Era crowd, you could tell a bunch of those people have seen Hogan before in the WCW days or WWF days. Those people were really hardcore wrestling fans, the ones in those crowds. Whereas the ones in Raw was your typical Raw crowd. And yeah, so that's that. But either way, I think both guys put on good shows. I did enjoy Raw, even if it was the same old Raw stuff. Now, with the actual ratings, Raw got a 3.6, which is the same from last week, I believe, which really disappointed Vince and WWE. They expected to get something bigger with Bret Hart. This is saying basically they got the same amount of the same average rating for the viewers as they did when Timberland was on. Now Timberland or Bret Hart, who should draw bigger ratings in the wrestling world? Bret Hart. So that was disappointing, but of course it's because TNA got a record-breaking for them 1.5, with their highest rated segment peaking at 1.9, which is just under 2.0, which is around what SmackDown gains on my network, if I'm right about that. I'm not 100% sure. So I think that was a big success, seriously, for TNA to go on Monday. They drew their biggest ratings, and this is only the beginning. Now, to talk about Genesis real quick, one of the things that I said in my previous video that kind of hurt the live Impact, I gotta sneeze. Alright, when it comes out, it comes out. So one of the things that hurt the live Impact show was the time management with the commercial. Yeah, anyways, the time management with the commercials, and this has happened before in their previous live shows. I think the one in Las Vegas, Jay Lethal earned the title shot at Bound for Glory, and then for 2 weeks later to lose that title shot in less than 2 minutes against Sheik Abdul Bashir. It was very disappointing. for me, big Jay Lethal fan. So time management was kind of a problem here. You know, they have to run a bunch of commercials before the Hogan promo so that they could run that Hogan promo. I said Hogan promo. Hogan promo commercial free. That's why we had all those commercials between 8:30 and 9. So obviously that's a big problem. But when the show was on and it was a Nasty Boy segments and here and there and Jeff Jarrett's getting to the ring for 30 minutes, the show was very good in my opinion. So that's why I think people need to find a way to watch TNA Genesis. Please order it because this is going to be 3 hours of commercial-free TNA programming. Now, most of the card still hasn't been revealed, which I find that's a very interesting thing. Some people say that hurts the show because there's nothing to look forward to and make people say, oh, I have to get that show. But since I know I'm going to get it regardless, I'm excited that the card hasn't been revealed yet. It's going to be one of those anything goes type of show, but it's going to be commercial free, which means we should be able to see longer matches and segments go straight to matches, no ads like the show that we just had. So I'm really looking forward to that, as well as something else that I said. Hogan said that everybody needs to lace their boots up and bring it. Now he's saying that storyline wise, that's the story. He's coming in with Eric Bischoff and they're seeing who should stick around. They're trying to see who they should cut the fat, you know, who's the fat in TNA so they could cut that out. So storyline wise, that's, you know, what's going on. But I think there's a sense of realism in that backstage. Rumors are that Hogan was the one behind Cody Deaner's push. I mean, Cody Deaner's release, sorry. So I just think that everybody's going to be out there trying to give it their all and put their best foot forward and look like the best person on that roster. Everybody's going to do that this whole night because they're not only trying to, you know, put the story forth, they're getting that spot on a pay-per-view, a spot that other people are freaking probably fighting for backstage. So they really, you know, are going to give it their all, I think. So that's why I think TNA is a must-order pay-per-view. Now, Genesis, sorry. Now, I don't know if I'm a big fan of Matt Morgan and Hernandez getting a tag team title shot, considering that Matt Morgan got a big singles push last year, and now he's going back to the tag division, it seems. Maybe this could lead to a Hernandez-Morgan feud, which will be interesting to see who comes out victorious or with a bigger push out of that one. But I don't know if I'm a big fan with that. Now, to talk about the Royal Rumble. The Royal Rumble hasn't really gotten that much build. The build is probably going to be starting next week. Like the real juicy build. Well, actually this week with Rey Mysterio and Batista, as well as MVP winning the US title. Anyways, but the actual Royal Rumble match itself. Now, there were reports that Booker T was going to join WWE when he left TNA, and reportedly plans have fallen through. But I think maybe that could have been a story released by the dirt sheets or whatever you want to call them, so that when Booker T comes to the Royal Rumble and appears at one of the numbers, it feels much bigger. So that would be very interesting to hear. Can you dig it, sucker? You know, so let's see if Booker T does indeed come in at the Royal Rumble. Another thing is that The Rock was reportedly going to host Raw, and he was talking about how they have big plans and they're planning this whole thing and that he's excited and all this stuff. He was saying all these things, promoting it, and now rumors are that the plans have fallen through and nothing's going to happen at all. So wouldn't it be a fucking mark out moment if it's like number 30? If you smile with The Rock, it just comes out all electrified and everybody's like, that would be a fucking mark out moment. Now, another thing that I would like to see happen at WrestleMania, I would like to see Jericho somehow get the titles again. And then Edge returns during WrestleMania build-up, maybe at No Way Out, Edge returns, or before No Way Out. And he's pretty upset at the fact that Big Show has his title now, that it was supposed to be him in that role. And Chris Jericho is, you know, he likes having Big Show there. So Edge turns face, you know, Edge, blah, blah, this and that. And Edge wants those titles back. So he challenges Jericho to a match at WrestleMania with none other than Christian as his partner. You know what kind of, like, all the potential in that match? Edge and Christian versus Jericho. And this would not only be a great match on the card, it would draw Christian away from ECW. And finally, something that a lot of people have been waiting for, finally get him on either SmackDown or Raw. That's another reason why I think people should tune into TNA Impact Thursday night, because it's going to be a 2-hour version of the 3-hour broadcast, which means all this kind of thing that was basically dead air with the Nasty Boys backstage trying to get in, Sean Waltman and this guy trying to get in, or Jeff Jarrett trying to get to the stage, all this kind of dead air, that will be cut out. So they're going to gather the best of the Monday show and turn it into a 2-hour program, which means less advertisement and more action.